Hello everyone, welcome back to MechaNORN today. I have Jared with me.
Hey, what's up, Posh?
Yeah, and I guess, we got a little bit of news at the beginning, so I'll let Jared take it from here.
Yeah, so on MechaNORN, we're getting into the winter season coming up, and we're going to make some changes here on MechaNORN. All Noah Zero, we're going to add that to MechaNORN, so Season 2 coverage of All Noah Zero will be included in MechaNORN. And to we're going to add that, but we're going to get rid of the two Gundam shows. We've been talking about them ever since we started MechaNorn, but quite honestly, as much as I've seen from the comments section on MechaNorn and elsewhere, that we just haven't really drummed up much interest in discussion or whatever with Gundam Build Fighters Try and Reconguista in G. We like these shows, but when when you blog, sometimes you kind of want to post your opinions and you want to have a conversation with people. And if the conversation part of it is not being returned, then we're kind of just talking amongst ourselves, and why bother to really have an in-depth conversation if we're not going to get some response from the listeners. And it's not to say it's all on the listeners. I mean, Fosh, you've tried to blog some Gundam shows in the past, and you haven't really gotten much interest in those shows like Gundam Age or whatever. And also, it could be a little bit on us. Maybe there's something more we could have done, something better we could have done with these shows to make them more appealing or make them more interesting. But you look at the comment section on MechaNorn, and pretty much everybody talks about Cross Ange, and that's a show that I was trying to stick with in the very beginning, but just couldn't. So that's the reason why we're planning to drop Gundam Build Fighters and Reconguista. If there is enough interest, you let us know in the comment section on the YouTube videos, whatever. But elsewise, I think that come for the winter 15 season, we're going to get rid of the Gundam shows and put All Noah in its place.
Right, yeah, because, like you said, a lot of people, when we first, All Noah started premiering, it got a lot of response. Even Cross Ange got a lot of response, so I think I might fit for the better. But like you said, if someone wants to hear us talk about Gundam, maybe not episodically. Maybe they can just they want to hear a series review at the end. We can do that when these wrap up.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
maybe
that
bring in
could
some
work out
guests.
too.
Yeah, I might bring in some guests for that. Might be interesting to have a big talks about Tri Fighters as a whole or Recon as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
But from that we go to Cross Ange 12. Her right arm's passed, which is I guess tells you who it's about. It's really a kind of somewhat Jill episode about her when she lost her arm and all that. Just kind of interesting, but at the same time it reveals something very strange at the end. But I'll jump right into it. Basically, the tale jump starts with the leaders of the world kind of meeting about the dragon attack that happened on the prison, and they're talking about the dragons being more aggressive, and I guess all these attacks and stuff that's going on. In the meantime, we have someone named Embryo, which is a new character they kind of introduced this week, and he's one of the leaders, and he proposes a new plan, basically destroy the world and create a new one, which, it's weird that he says something like that. It's a big WTF moment for me. And Julio, on the other hand, is kind of like, oh yeah, great idea. This sounds like the best idea ever. And so he kind of tells Embryo, do what you have to do. And so they, that's those people doing that thing right now. And it's just funny, just kind of seeing how they, a solution is basically destroy everyone and just rebuild everything from scratch, which kind of made my head scratch a bit. But you find out what Embryo is capable of a little later here in this episode. And then Hilda, I guess, is now the new leader of the group because Talia was detained for not obeying orders last week, and so I guess she's in the prison now. So you have Hilda as now the new commander, and a few people don't really like that idea, namely, Chris and the other girl. They don't like that idea of Hilda being the leader, but they kind of get over it and, realize that they kind of have no choice because, since the base has been almost nearly halfway destroyed, they need to, be a team anyway, so they kind of get over it. And I guess we learn, I guess Ange tells Jill that she needs to tell her everything. So Jill kind of agrees that, okay, I'll tell you everything about what's going on in my past and everything. And she reveals about her past and how she lost her arm, which is kind of nice. But the biggest part of the flashback and slash storytelling was about humanity was wiped out once before, and God, aka Embryo, is a scientist who basically created life again. And it's very weird. I guess he's a very smart scientist or whatever. But so he's kind of the origin of the life and where the normal kind of originate from. I guess he wanted to create a race that didn't have any hate in them, all this stuff. So he basically made the mana users, but offset that he also made the normal, which is the byproduct of the mana users. So and he figured out they can fight the dragons. So and I guess that's the way the world gets set up because of him. And I guess Embryo is behind everything. So I'm not sure if he's immortal, if he's old, if he's not old, what he is. Maybe he's not human at all, because we have seen some characters last week revealed as not being human. So maybe they are going to be throwing that in this series as well. And Ange mentions about the dragons, but Jill did not answer any questions about the dragons whatsoever. She kind of like avoid the question, avoided answering it, and so Jill just kind of doesn't tell her what's going on. But at the same time, while they're talking, there's a dragon in the base, which if we can kind of figure out who it is because there's a voice from the dragon, and it came from the same room as Vivian sleeps. So they do reveal later on about Vivian, but I'll get to that in a minute. So this dragon's kind of wandering the base looking for food and all that stuff, but the viewer we know it is Vivian. She basically is a dragon, which they don't really explain how this works, but we do reveal later on that Ange was singing and the dragon kind of was responding to her song and kind of was calmed down and landed near her, and kind of Ange was petting the dragon and she transformed back into Vivian, which is very strange. They didn't really go into detail why. I assume maybe in episode 13 they're going to talk about it, but they do reveal that the dragons are in fact human, which makes me wonder what's been going on this whole time. And so Ange is kind of sickened by this idea that up until now she's been killing dragons left and right for money, making a good life. Because she did tell Jill before that she likes this lifestyle of killing dragons and making money and buying things she wants, and to her it was fine. But now they reveal that all the dragons are in fact human because there's a giant pit that they're kind of pushing these dragon corpses into the to catch them on fire. But when they get up there, they since Angie's seen the truth, she sees the dragons as the humans, and there's the big she gets mad about that and kind of hates Jill for that. That she's vowed not to kill any dragons anymore, Vilcus anymore, but just as she's doing that, a fleet of troops and stuff is arriving to the prison, which includes her brother, Julio. So she may have no choice but to help fight in the next coming battles, because she's proven before that her Vilcus is special and she's special, so they kind of need her power to fight dragons. And those other paramels they fought last week, I assume they would be coming back later on. The extras in the episode, Vivian's a dragon, was kind of confusing. It is very crazy for me, but seeing this cross Ange that they've done some pretty weird stuff in the past with the show, so whatever, I'm gonna take it as what it is. And I'm hoping to explain why she can transform into a dragon. Maybe she was a dragon the entire time, or is this maybe just something else that they were hiding from everybody. It's very strange, but yeah. And singing, I guess except for our songs can actually calm dragons down, which I assume they'll be using later on as a weapon later. And they reveal that dragons are people. What do you guys think of that? I think it's a little out there, even for this show, but you know what? Why not? Sunrise can do what they want with this series. And do you think any other characters in this series are dragons? Do you think maybe Ange is a dragon? I don't think so. She would have shown signs of that way before. But yeah, I'm not sure what they're doing with the series. If they're trying I know they're trying to the big message that humans are like the biggest threat to other humans. I know they're trying to say that. That's kind of obvious now, since dragons are not really dragons at all, but people. So yeah, do Gundam Build Fighters. So 2 episodes of this, episodes 11 and 12, which I completely forgot we didn't do 11, but I threw it in there. So, and 11 is basically them, I guess Raul taking his team, the Tri Fighters, since they would win a tournament. Something to get serious about this, so he's taking them out of training camp. But they don't realize they're going to, I guess, the home of, Gunpla, or I guess originated from the Nielsen Labs, which Nielsen is a character from season 1 who was a genius scientist who was trying to basically unlock the secret of the, I guess, particles that make the Gunpla move and everything. Because they didn't know where it came
Mm-hmm.
from, but I won't spoil it if you watch the first season, but where it comes from is very weird, but yeah, that was his whole character. He wanted to analyze and figure out how to build it, and so he basically, I guess, inherited the system, and now I guess the owner of all these systems all over the world. So I guess he's like helping
Oh,
everyone with the tournaments. Yeah, he's an
oh,
interesting
that's pretty
character.
neat. I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
he's a cool character, and he's yeah. So basically, he owns his lab, and I guess you can come there and train with all these high-end teams. So I guess that's the plan for Raul is to get these kids to train,
Mm-hmm.
which was kind of cool. I mean, most training camps in anime are usually we've seen them all times. They're usually at the beach or hot springs, and they're just gonna goof around and maybe train here and there, but not
Yeah,
really. But
they've already had their goof around episode with the beach and models using gunpla.
right, yeah. So I guess you can count that as their kind of relaxation episode. And now they're back in the training mode, which it's kind of cool because you see the other teams, but all the other teams kind of look down the Tri Fighters because you're a bunch of middle schoolers won one tournament, whoop de doo, because well they've been in tournaments I guess their whole lives, so they kind of make fun of the Tri Fighters for that,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
which is kind of like that's kind of unsportsmanlike, but you know what? There, I guess to make it interesting, you have to have teams like that that are kind of jackasses, I guess.
Yeah, and you got to bring these, personalities they act like big shots and that they're all good and stuff, and kind of give people a hard time. It's a very typical like competition thing.
Right? Yeah. Like, you suck. We're gonna kill you or beat you, whatever. That thing.
Yeah, you guys shouldn't even try.
Yeah, exactly. And then
But it's in our name.
yeah, it's true. It's in their name. And then they leave, they kind of get like a tour of the place, and they get a chance to train against this big group. But when they get there, the group they're going to train against is already in a fight, and they pretty much are getting slaughtered by the one guy. I forgot what his suit was, but it was like I would say like a Dark Gundam from maybe G Gundam. It was very, I guess, demonic looking, and then it has these weird claw arms. I don't know. This overall look of it was very strange, I think. And so, Yuma sees this fight and he kind of freaks out because he realizes this might be the guy he fought, I don't know how many years ago, but that kind of defeated him the first time, kind of, I guess, stomped on his dream of being a gunpla fighter. So I guess he assumes it was this guy. I don't know if they said it was really him or not, but yeah. And after that, he jumps in there to fight. So now say this guy's fighting, I guess, fought three, defeated all three of them. Now he's fighting a fourth one, and now he's Yuma tries to fight him, and he gets owned, and Sekai jumps in, he gets owned. So this guy's like very powerful, I guess. Oops, must have lost it. Nope.
Check 1, 2, 3.
Hey, how's that?
All right. Yeah, there were some points where I was talking and then you would just keep going. I was like, what the heck?
Oh yeah. I noticed we got quiet, so I was wondering what was going on.
All right.
I was like, say, worst case if it happens again, we can maybe try another time. It's fine.
All right.
But yeah.
I'm wondering where you should start off at.
Oh, I'll start back with after the I guess after they
Oh, mention the
train.
thing about Yuma.
Right, yeah, Yuma.
Yeah.
Alright. Okay, 3, 2, 1. So basically, when they get after the training camp, they kind of explore the area, but I guess Raul set them up to fight these other fighters. But when they get there, they kind of already seeing them fight someone else that basically is dominating them like really fast. And Yuma, I guess, sees this suit and kind of has a flashback to I guess his past, and he assumes the guy that fought the other three was actually the one he fought that kind of gets squashed his dream of being a build fighter. And I guess he starts freaking out and jumps in the fight. It was kind of weird seeing that.
Yeah, just all of a sudden, like that. It's almost like his rival, sort of a darkness in Yuma's past that he must fix.
Right, almost like the Persona. That's what I was thinking. And yeah, that was weird to see him jump in like that. And like I said, he jumps in the fight, tries to fight him, but he gets soloed easily. And the guy he's fighting is like this suit looks like a dark Gundam from like maybe G Gundam, like a God Gundam, what you want to call it. But it's very,
Mhm.
very demonic looking. I'm not sure what's the base he's using, but it looks a little weird. I don't really like it that much.
Yeah, it's kind of floaty a little bit. Wears a cloak, like a tattered cloak all around its frame.
Yeah, it is a little
It's
weird.
definitely a powerful looking Gundam.
Yeah, because he defeats Yuma and Sekai jumps in. He kind of gets ready to defeat Sekai, so in a short matter of like 2 or 3 minutes, he defeated like 5 people in a matter of without even breaking a sweat. And I was like, jeez, this dude's overpowered. Like, damn.
Yeah, that's it seemed like there was a stretch in these past couple episodes where we got to see a lot of the most powerful people that they're gonna encounter. I assume at some point in this national tournament, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in the next episode when we get to it.
Right, yeah, they're definitely setting up these suits. And after he gets, I guess, beating everyone, he's getting ready to fight Sekai again. The very last, before can actually get into it, I guess this guy kind of like breaks apart and descends this giant red. I was like, almost like he's trying to be this holy being, like descending from heaven, and they even have the music playing in the background and everything, and
Yeah, that
yeah,
was
everyone's freaking
like the
out.
way episode 12 started. It was like that music and just like, oh my god, it's the perfect Gundam.
Yeah, and everyone's like doing the whole gas shot where you see a shot of a character kind of with their mouth open and they keep going back and forth to the other characters. And
Yeah.
it's this red suit that doesn't look anything special. I mean, it kind of looks like, I want to say, original Gundam. They had this like crap Gundam with these big cannons on his shoulders. It looks just like one of those, but this one's like all red, and they call it I guess, red legendary suit called the Perfect Gunpla, or as what Rao calls it, the red warrior. Which again, it doesn't look anything special to me, but I guess maybe to them it's something they've never seen before, which is very strange.
Yeah, it's more about the guy that's piloting it rather than the Gundam itself.
Right, yeah. And they do reveal it is the Meiji, which in Gunpla world is like the highest rank you can get as Gunpla builder or fighter. It's like I guess, I don't know what a real term would be for like gamer term. I don't know what it'd be. Maybe you're just the highest play gamer ever. I don't know what they have a title such a thing.
Oh, like God tier or something.
Yeah, pretty much. I know in League of Legends like platinum or diamond's like the highest you can get, and that's like
Ah.
if you're a plat player, everyone's like, well, wow, he must be like extremely good at this game.
Hmm.
And yeah, so that kind of ends at episode 11. Not really a lot to say in this, as far as extra goes, but I'll talk more about it in the next episode with 12 to fly to the future. And this one is basically, I guess, each of the characters getting a little spot in their own time. Well, I guess Sekai kind of is, I guess, passed out in the other fight, which was very weird. I guess he maybe just pushed himself too far. So yeah, basically it's going to be Yuma and, Fumiya just kind of doing their thing this week.
Yeah, with Sekai, they're continuing to point from the end of the last tournament that he's getting very much into it. Assimilation, I believe, was the word that they used
Right, yeah.
to sort of indicate like how into Gunpla he's becoming, and it almost kind of builds up like he has the potential to become legend.
Right, he could be the next Meiji if he really, honed his skills. But I almost feel like maybe he needs a break from Gunpla for a
Yeah.
bit. And that's what
Hmm.
gonna kind of Raw, I think, is his job to do is keep an eye on him, make sure he doesn't do something he's not supposed to be doing. But yeah, but in the meantime, we have Yuma kind of still. I guess he did run away when he got beat last week, and Meiji finds him. I guess it kind of opportunity to maybe motivate him. So I guess he agrees to fight him. Like, well, I'll let you use my red legendary Gundam versus I'll use yours. So they switch Gunpla, and just to show him that it's not the suit, maybe it's the actual fighter behind it that needs more work.
Yeah. Which is kind of like what I just mentioned earlier about the whole. It's not so much the Gundam as it is the Gundam fighter that needs to dig deep within themselves and find out what they can really do.
Right, yeah. I also almost feel more like, again, like another sports thing where maybe it's not the actual the sport that's you're not good at. It's yourself you have to
Mhm.
work on. Maybe your
Yeah,
attitude or your personality needs to be, you know.
yeah. So don't hate the game, hate the player. Wait, what?
Yeah,
That doesn't make
right.
sense.
Or just in my case would be just like I'm just gonna take every overpowered weapon, throw it in my gunpla, and just go out and own people. And so those two kind of go off on their own to do their own battle, and the battle they have later on was kind of interesting, but I'll talk about that later. But in the meantime, Fumiya kind of is looking for them, and she runs into I guess her mentor, which I don't think they really know her name. I think her name's just I think it was said in the episode, but I probably forgot it.
They call her lady.
Yeah. So I mean, she runs up to her, and both of them are kind of like talking. I guess she challenges Fumio to a battle because she senses there's something maybe Fumiya's lacking or missing, and those two kind of go off to fight. And you get these two alternate fights, which I think they're very different, but at the same time kind of the same thing. But what do you think
Mhm.
of Yuma's fight with Meiji? I liked his a little bit better because I mean it was more dramatic, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. They spent a little bit more time with Yuma and Meiji, and there's more interaction to where the the development felt a little more legit and felt a little bit more like written
hmm
than Fumina and Lady, which kind of was like, okay, well, we have Yuma's training with this person and Seikai's not doing anything, so we're going to have Fumina work with this other person, and that'll be our method to get them to grow as fighters. And I thought hers wasn't as strong as Yuma's development.
Right, yeah, because the thing with the Fumia, I think it was just I thought it was kind of cheesy how Lady also had a SD Gundam. I was like, okay, well that's kind of you can obviously see that's been written in
Hmm.
just to match her with her. It's like okay, well that's fine though, but kind of expected Lady to have a different gunpla besides a SD one, but maybe that's what she had had on her hand at the time. But
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see how that
Although,
works out.
although I do feel that, with that part that we know that Lady has been an inspiration to Fumina
hmm
before, and maybe that's what caused her to build the SD Gundam that she did.
Right, it could have been it. Yeah, you never know. Maybe the other flashback, maybe she has other suits, or maybe lady just trains with other different suits. That way she's not stuck in the
Hmm.
same one all the time. And again, with the SD ones, I'm not a big fan of them, but I do like the
Yeah.
idea they can do these super moves. And Fumiya actually can actually do a little bit of combination of both. She can actually
Hmm.
be a melee fighter with the making the fist, and she can also be a ranged sniper just like Yuma using the different parts. I thought it was kind of interesting how she could do that. And that was cool.
I wonder, I'm just kind of thinking out loud about the whole process of gunpla fighting
hmm
is that wouldn't normally you would kind of build a set of Gundam for different situations, and or is it kind of like a pride thing in the show, or just that they want one Gundam specifically tied to a character so that you know whatever battle you're in, you can kind of figure out what to do with what Gundam you have instead of saying like, I'm going to be playing this character, so I'm going to use this Gundam. I'm going to use this SD Gundam here in the championship match. We're going up against a team that's sort of like, I'm thinking like Smash Brothers in a sense, like anti-air or
Right.
something. Like, I would utilize this Gundam in a match against these opponents, but it seems like they just want to tie one Gundam to the character so that they can use that, and it kind of maybe becomes more. All those Gundams become more iconic, and maybe they can sell more Gunpla if they, if you look at it, it's like, oh, this is the Gundam that Sekai was using, or this is the Gundam that Yuma was using in the series, like Lightning and Build Burning.
Oh yeah, definitely can see that. Then it is in the end, it is a show to sell merchandise, which a lot of these shows really are. I mean, One Piece maybe not so much, but a long running
Yeah.
show like Gundam especially, it's all one big toy advertisement, especially Build Fight.
Hmm.
Like you said,
Yeah.
they can show off in a span of 24 episodes, 24 minutes, they can I show maybe 15, 20 different suits in a matter of minutes, and like, oh, we can get this, that, and that, and then, but yeah, like you said, you would think the characters would specialize in like all different types of these suits, your space suits, your ground units, your water units, but I guess
Hmm.
in the case of the swim team, they kind of showed that if you specialize in just one, it can be your downfall if you get the wrong map,
Yeah.
and
And it
it's kind
seems
of neat.
like in tournaments they randomize all the stages anyway, so you should just be comfortable with the Gundam that your main, so to speak.
Right, yeah, and that's the thing with Gundam I like. You don't actually exactly have to have an aquatic robot to be in the underwater scene.
Hmm.
Regular Gundams and even the other shows they've shown they can go underwater, go to space. They can survive any environment almost. So it's kind of interesting. And overall episode, I thought was cool. Like you said, seeing these two characters, Fumiya and Yuma, kind of get some screen time. They didn't really got much screen time because Sekai usually takes most of the time. But it was nice seeing them fight, and yeah, I look forward to more than that. What did you think of these two Gunpla episodes?
They were fun. Um, I feel like as I watch more of the show, I kind of see through it a little bit with the writing,
Hmm.
but it's still entertaining, which is definitely good enough for me. Um, as for the training stuff, the battles were fun. I especially enjoyed, as we discussed, Meiji and Yuma's fight scene in that episode, and hopefully after this, we'll be getting ready for actual tournament action.
Right, yeah. I fully expect them to do maybe like a montage of them training here and there, or maybe them just skipping straight ahead to they've been training camp for about a month, so we get to see a skip and then see what happens afterwards. As far as extra goes, it wasn't really a lot. I mean, I said before the Perfect Gundam, it had some cool theme music. It was just interesting seeing that, and also the OST. Part one of the OST is out now, so you can find it
Yeah,
through any means. You know how to. People are smart. They know how to find things.
yeah.
and
I like that. I like that we're pretending that we're just not telling people to go to nya.eu.
right, and search and oh, there you go. And yeah, so yeah, after that, it's nice seeing Yuma and Fumiya get some solo screen time, and maybe they might become stronger, or who knows, maybe they might get some pointers from these, top end people, and they may pick some things up here and there. And one last
Hmm.
thing I mentioned was just funny seeing Meiji on his bike pull up, and he had pulled his visor off. Under the visor, looks cool, and he has glasses underneath it. I don't know, it just made me laugh, like just
Yeah,
glasses and glasses, like the hell.
the glasses are, they would seem like they look cool, but I personally think they look a little lame on Meiji and Lady.
Oh yeah, well in season one that's all he wore. When he was in his tournament mode, he was just wearing glasses the whole entire time. So it's like they always made a joke that they were just stuck to his face, or he never took them off. And yeah, I
It's
thought,
kind of like
yeah,
Morpheus from Matrix.
yeah, I think they even made a joke that when he showers, he keeps glasses on or something. So it's very weird. And Lady, she's new, and I would easily say the most adult-looking character I've seen so far in the series. Like, wow, it's her design's pretty nice. And I just
Yeah,
noticed
she's
her
got
design,
to
she's
be
wearing
early
like
20s.
one long pants leg and the other one's cut off. I was like,
Oh yeah,
that's a little weird. I'm pretty sure I've
anime
seen that
has
in
a
Final Fantasy somewhere.
anime has a weird sort of thing with that single leg like Kaori Kanzaki from Index and some of
Yeah,
the other
that's what I was thinking of.
video game
Yeah,
characters.
that's what I was thinking. Them girl from Index. I'm like, I know I've seen that design somewhere, but yeah, like you said, they definitely do that. But yeah, that's been Build Fighters. Like, again, it's sad to see we're not gonna talk about this anymore, but yeah, it's fun. Maybe someone might say something. We'll see.
Hmm.
And from Gunpla battles to real battles, we go to Gundam G Reconguista episode 13. Those who came from the moon. And I still haven't found the name they call these people, but I just keep calling them moon people. Hope no one takes offense to that, but that's what I keep calling them. But yeah, so we go from that during Mondays. I guess she's finally, talking normally in complete sentences and stuff, but maybe a little bit off in this episode. I know 14, she's a little better, but yeah. So I guess when we last left off, the pirates were being attacked by the moon people. So right now, everyone's kind of joined forces temporarily, and I guess the plan is to fight the moon people. Like for now, until when that's over, they're gonna turn on each other. We all can see that coming if you're watching.
Oh yeah, temporary joining forces. Uh, just quickly about Monday. Actually, about a couple of these points,
Hmm.
it's kind of weird, like seeing this person, this character that was just kind of loopy and kind of giddy, just kind of in her own world and just kind of nonsense from time to time, just like choo choo me or whatever. And then just all of a sudden, it's like, oh, she's like a normal person now. Like, how does it? Like, it's weird how it kind of just kind of comes up like midway through the series. I hope there's at least some level of proper explanation as we as he sort of grows more into a regular character that can function with others instead of just obsessing over G's self, which he hasn't really done that much of these past two episodes.
Right, yeah, these ones, she's kind of, like you said, back in normal mode. And, I guess the plan, since they're all working together, they all kind of meet each other. Nick meets Mask, and Mask meets all these people, and Bellry, but he doesn't, I don't think he even knows Bellry's really there, because he sees him a couple times, but he doesn't make any comments towards him, so I'm guessing the Mask completely altered his, mentality. I wouldn't be surprised if
Yeah,
that the Mask itself has, changed him completely. And he's not the same person as he used to be, but yeah, it's just weird seeing that, and yeah.
as a viewer, it's very awkward.
Yes, definitely. That's the word I would use. And so they come up with a plan. So how are we gonna fight the moon people? And Nick, being the master strategist he thinks he is, uh, his attack is basically we're gonna wave this white flag and pretend we're surrendering, and the last minute attack them. And I'm like, that's the worst plan I've ever freaking heard. But Mask is just like, oh, that's great, best plan ever, and they go for it. And it doesn't really work out so well.
Mm-mm. Yeah, they sniffed it out pretty quickly.
Yeah, they're like, white flag, psh, through that, and the moon could just unload on them. Like, wow. Uh, I just thought it was funny how Masters like, kind of like agreed completely with Nick. It's like, yeah, great plan, let's go. And it makes me want to think that maybe Masters doesn't really care what the plan is as long as he gets to shoot something, he doesn't care. That's the way I feel.
Yeah.
But with that failed plan, I guess the new way to do it is to go to a negotiation attempt. So they're gonna try to, I guess prevent a war from breaking out. But even that, I would say in 14 we see that doesn't really go that well. But we'll talk about that when we get there. But yeah, so and Nick is kind of like accusing him of all these different things, saying that you guys plan to join Godwin, which I guess is the enemy of the American army, and I guess the
Mhm.
colonization of Earth, which I guess now we've figured out that's what a Reconguista is, basically a colonization. I guess how they call it in this series.
Yeah, it was nice for me who had never looked up that word, or I don't even know if it's made up or it's got to be a real word, but just to sort of lay out their plans more uh, blatantly and in front of everybody. Can I mention real quickly, um, as this episode and we get into the next episode,
Hmm.
I swear it seems like every sentence they're mentioning some faction or some place,
Yeah.
and I'll admit that we're not going to be including these future mini talks, and part of the relief is that I'm admittedly kind of confused sometimes. I mean, there's so many, we're going to talk about Toasanga and Gondwa and the American army and the Capitol Guard and the army and the Moon people. It's like it's Saint Porto. There's so much uh, terminology and locations that are being tossed about that I'll admit that I'm a little bit confused from time to time.
Right, and it's almost like the Star Wars effect, or where you have all these weird names of places and people that you're like, okay, it's cool and all, but it's like, you can just be a little simpler and just, use
Hmm.
words that people can understand. But yeah, it's Gundam, and it's just very weird how they do that. And yeah, so I mean, after all that, the next stop is the moon, which they keep saying they're gonna do, but they never do it. I'm kind of annoyed by that fact, but it's fine. They get there eventually. And extra from episode 13, the only thing that stood out was this hilarious moment for me that if all these characters that were enemies at one time, they've been trying to kill each other for the last, I don't know, 12, 13 episodes, and they're all kind of hanging out together in this big elevator. I thought that was the most
Hmm.
random scene I've ever seen in Gundam. It was basically like all the enemies of each other just in one room, kind of just hanging out and chatting. I'm like, didn't you guys try to kill each other like not
Yeah,
too long ago?
this is kind of a funny scene, and with the characters that were included, there's no really hothead personality, so that scene can kind of work in that way.
Yeah. I think the only hothead would be Nick. He's always thinks he's the shit. He's the badass of the group. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm so cool. I came up with a plan. I'm like, your plan failed, so you're not very good at it. But yeah, it's just seeing. I think Nick and Mask. I think they hit it off pretty well. They're both kind of similar characters, and they kind of think a lot about other themselves. Think they're the coolest people ever. But yeah. So episode 14, space and mobile suit battles, which includes a new opening, sort of maybe. I'm not sure if it is or not.
Yeah, new song at least. Some reused animation.
Yeah, and we have Manny kind of serving tea, which I guess is a military job. I guess maybe. It's so weird that now she's a maid apparently. But I guess she overhears that the army.
Can I interject?
Yeah, go for
it.
Can
I interject real quick?
Yeah.
About the new opening. We see so many shows do that. I'm thinking of Psychopaths.
Yep.
Yeah, the first series most recently, where they'll make a new opening and they'll include a new song, but they'll half-ass the animation. And to me, like, why not? Don't just put it in because it's episode 14, it's the second half, therefore new song. If you want to wait a little while, put it in at like episode 16 when you have a new animation set for it, I feel.
Right, yeah, that's true. I think next, maybe 15, we'll get a new animation go with that song.
But about Manny?
Oh yeah, she's basically overhearing the army kind of talk over something, I guess they're kind of drinking tea. And she overhears them talk about an assassination attempt, maybe to kill these moon people that are arriving. But they can't really do it on the holy ground, because they're in St. Porto. So they decide, maybe when they get into space, we'll do something else to make it look like, they fought or died in battle. And it almost makes me seem that they're going to maybe plant explosives inside their cargo hold. That way, while they're out in space, they can just blow them up and be like, oh, they died in battle. And so they don't make the army look like they're, scum for doing that, for assassinating them.
Oh, yeah.
And,
great strategy.
Yeah, I know, right? The strategies in the show are just brilliant. And, so negotiations kind of happen again, I try to or whatever, but they end up being more arguments than anything because they're kind of throwing back, accusations back and forth that, oh, you did this, you did that, you guys decided with these people, and even the Pope kind of says something along the lines of like, we had a festival about a week ago, you guys should have came down, and like, the moon people are like, are you serious? You guys attacked us? You guys sent a fleet into space, what are we supposed to do? Go down there and say hi? I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, I admit that earlier I was talking about how there's so many factions and locations that I'm confused on, but watching this scene, you have kind of a better idea of, who to root for here and who the bad guys really are.
Yeah, they definitely are marking the moon people as like the villains of the group of this series anyway. That maybe it's not really the army or the tower or the pirates that are technically evil, but maybe the moon people are. Especially the way they look very, I don't want to say it, but they look very Nazi-like. I mean, they're all wearing these matching uniforms. I guess in Gundam terms it would be the I forgot what they call them. Oh man, I just in my head a minute ago.
Oh, like the Zeon.
Yeah, there you go, the Zeon. They're very Zeon-like, especially their like uniforms and just how they act in general, like you were saying. So and after that, Manny was gonna tell them about the assassination attempt, but was like, no, I'm not gonna tell them. She kind of just runs off. I was like, you could have told them. I'm
gonna join the army.
Right, yeah, exactly. You could have told them. And now, Nick comes with a new plan. No surprise there. That basically you want to lure them away from the St. Porto and then fight them in space. I'm like, that's kind of an obvious one. I mean, you can't fight there. Why not lure them away and then fight them? But
yeah, but then later on, the Mask and them, they used a strategy of sort of using St. Porto behind them as a way for the moon people to not attack, but then he kind of threatens them with, or he kind of dares them to shoot at him, but then he shoots some message tubes on their ship that they're eventually going to read, I guess.
Yeah, because the guys in the moon were freaking out that, oh my god, he's going to kill them, and Gundam does the whole thing where everything stops, and it's like the colors alternate, and it's like, reverse colors, and you think Mask is going in for the kill, but actually just, like you said, attaches this thing to their hull and kind of runs away, and he's just like laughing like, I got them, like, you didn't do anything. All you did is attach like a stick bomb to him. Like, wow, good job, like, But yeah, I guess he has his mission to do that, and so yeah. So then you see Nick and Mick afterwards, kind of like owning people left and right, and I love that animation. Just watching those two fight was kind of cool, and just swinging around the
Mhm.
plasma axe and everything. I was like, wow, this is really cool. Just watching them just do what they do best, I guess.
Oh yeah, yeah. They've been the funnest group of people to watch these past few episodes, and there was a scene where they were going down an
Oh
elevator to
yeah,
the bridge of the ship, and it looked like the animation made it look like Mick was hugging Nick, kind of like we kind of maybe viewed them as like couple
oh
material
yeah,
because of
definitely.
how they've been working together. Same maybe could be said in a way for Mask and Barora.
Oh yeah.
But then they brought back the thing where Nick wanted to check back on Ida, like and press her.
Right, yeah. So you definitely see that it's one-sided relationship or one-sided romance. We're not sure how
Mhm.
Mick feels about Nick, but yeah, those two, like you said, they are fun to watch together. And it wants to set up where I could see one of them dying, and it'd be this heroic thing when one has to sacrifice each other or whatever to save them. I don't know, it's gonna be weird, but I like watching them, and just seeing them fight was fun. And Bellery, on the other hand, doesn't really fight like them. I mean, he's blowing people up, but he takes one of them prisoner, which is very strange. But they kind of pull him on the ship, and his name's Ringo Lon. I'm gonna mess his last name up. Monta, whatever. And
Shiomanada.
yeah, he's got a weird name. I'm thinking maybe he might be joining their team because for me, it's like, why else would they take the time to make him say his name and all this stuff? So it's like he might be important later on. Maybe he's a new addition to the crew, which would be
hmm
interesting because you would have people from all different factions on one team, which is what the pirates really are. I think they are a blend of all kinds of different factions.
Yeah,
But
he seems like one of those characters right now to me that he seems kind of unassuming
hmm
on the surface, but as we get a little bit deeper, and he has such a detailed name right there that he might factor it a little bit more later
right,
on than I might have initially think.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's like the prince of someone there, and they just so happen to found we found the prince, so that gives us even more chance to get to the moon, which again is the goal, and I think that's what we're gonna get to next week. But yeah, unfortunately we won't be talking about it, but it's fine. And
hmm
extras from the episode, we had new clothes for the girls. At the beginning, they're kind of like wearing these new outfits, and even Monday was kind of trying to get Bellary to notice him, and it was pretty funny to see the girls kind of like, especially Ida, who was kind of like I guess like wearing this short little dress. I'm like, wow, that's that's very interesting to wear to the negotiation thing. So,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, where are you going? It's not a dance party.
right, yeah. Even there's a moment when Ada says a stupid quote to Monday. She's eating an apple and she throws it and she's like, "Wow, amazing!" I'm like, "How's that amazing throwing an apple core?" It's like,
Yeah, that was kind of a weird scene there. It's like, oh, they don't think of that as throwing it away. Then what do they think of it as?
yeah, yeah, like and they're talking about they take a minute to make sure they tell us about where they get the land fertilizer for. I'm like, okay, we're talking about negotiation against a country that's trying to go to war, and you guys are talking about cows and fertilizer. That's great. You know, it's funny. Just this show has a weird way of doing that, where like I said, they were talking about something serious one minute, and the next minute it's something completely off the wall. Like, oh, that skirt is too short, and then oh, back to war. Like, this is very weird.
hmm It's not very natural,
Yeah,
though.
yeah. More people don't really do that. I mean, if they're watching a news story about like terrorist attacks or anything, they're not gonna exactly gonna talk about you know I don't know what they eat for breakfast.
Yeah.
It's like whatever. I mean, and the last thing I mentioned, like close combat is taboo. I guess you can't even fight close combat near Saint Porto. I'm like, wow, this place. It's kind of like this massive shield people everyone wants to use to get hide behind.
Yeah, the religion,
Yeah,
religious element of it is kind of making everybody a little nuts,
yeah, it does. And that's pretty much
which is what religion does.
yeah, that's true. That's very true. That's pretty much the episode. So what do you think of like these two? I mean, for me, it's going towards somewhere. I mean, it's getting there.
Yeah, we're kind of in sort of a lot of political talks right now with the different factions, and people, every faction is trying to feel each other out and trying to figure out different methods as far as battling and negotiating, and I think ultimately we're going to see where no side is going to agree to anything, and everybody's just going to be on their own, and it's going to be could be a crazy war for the remaining however many episodes.
Right, yeah, we got, I want to say, maybe 50. I'm still leaning towards 50 episodes of this because the way it's going now, the pacing is very slow. But yeah, right now you said
Mm-hmm.
everything's pointing towards seeing who's gonna pull the trigger first and who's gonna make the first move. For right now, it looks like everyone's kind of like you said, just waiting for one side to do something, and once they do that, it's just gonna be a war. And that's what I see what happening. Unless they reveal Monday is maybe an important role later on, I could see maybe she is the reason they can stop a war. They find out who she really is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I guess next week we're talking about I'll Know Zero and Cross Ange. So, guess see you guys next
Yep.
time.
See you.
Bye.